Most people don't realize it, but what truly defines your reality isn't external circumstances. It's the vibrational frequency you maintain every day. And you know what the big problem is? We live in a world designed to keep your vibration low. Alarming news, manufactured crises, stressful routines. All of this has been strategically placed in your path so that you feel powerless, anxious, and trapped in a cycle of fear and scarcity. But what if I told you there's a way to break that pattern and access a level of energy where prosperity and money flow naturally? What sets apart those who become immune to crises from those who get swallowed by them isn't intelligence, luck, or talent. It's awareness. Those who understand how vibrational frequency works can transform any situation in their favor. Have you noticed how some people seem to attract opportunities effortlessly, while others continuously face difficulties? It's not by chance. It's a direct reflection of the frequency at which they operate. And the truth is, anyone can change this tuning as long as they know the right principles. The big mistake many make is thinking that just thinking positive will solve everything. If it were that simple, everyone would be living in abundance. The reality is that elevating your vibration requires strategy, knowledge, and above all, conscious action. But here's the detail no one tells you. The world doesn't want you to discover this. The higher your frequency, the less manipulable you become. And that's why you never learned about this in school, college, or at work. Those who master this science free themselves from the invisible chains that keep most people trapped in a life of limitations. If you feel like you're constantly struggling and nothing flows the way you'd like, the issue isn't the world around you, it's the frequency at which you're vibrating. And the good news is that this can change faster than you might imagine. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to raise your vibration even in the toughest moments, so that you can finally attract what you truly deserve. And I guarantee you, once you understand these principles, you'll never see life the same way again. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to attract prosperity and money with ease, while others live in a cycle of scarcity? This doesn't happen by accident. Each person's vibrational frequency determines what manifests in their reality. Those who operate at a high frequency have the clarity, strength, and resilience to overcome challenges without being shaken. Meanwhile, those who keep their frequency low become magnets for problems because everything they feel internally reflects on the external world. It's like tuning a radio. If the station is full of static, the message doesn't come through clearly. In difficult times, vibrational frequency becomes a decisive factor. Imagine two entrepreneurs facing a financial crisis. One falls into despair, paralyzed by fear. The other sees an opportunity for reinvention. What sets them apart? The frequency at which they operate. The first aligns with failure, while the second maintains a high vibration and finds solutions. This principle applies in every area of life. The way you react to adversity defines whether you'll be a victim of your circumstances or the architect of your own reality. Elevating your vibrational frequency isn't a passive process, it's a constant workout. Small habits like daily gratitude, mental reprogramming, and exposure to positive content make a huge difference. Want to test it out? For a week, swap complaints for empowering affirmations like "money flows to me effortlessly." And it might seem simple, but your subconscious picks up on this new frequency and begins to act differently. Those who apply this notice real changes in the way the universe responds. Now, you need to understand that maintaining a high vibration requires emotional shielding. Negative news, toxic environments, and even certain types of conversations can lower your frequency without you realizing it. Those who spend too much time consuming content that reinforces fear and hopelessness end up vibrating on that same level, attracting more of the same. Have you noticed how some people seem to live in a perpetual drama? It's not bad luck, it's vibration. Choose carefully where you place your attention and energy. If you want prosperity and success, you need to learn how to control your vibration like a conductor leading an orchestra. And that starts with emotional mastery, because fear and anxiety are the most powerful tools of manipulation that exist. But that's a topic for the next point. Fear and anxiety don't just appear out of nowhere. They're fueled, nurtured, and often implanted by external information. How many times have you felt a tightness in your chest after watching the news or reading something alarming online? It's no coincidence. The human mind responds to constant stimuli, and those who control these stimuli have the power to manipulate emotions en masse. For anyone who desires prosperity and money, understanding this game is crucial, because a low vibrational frequency blocks abundance and paralyzes strategic action. Have you ever noticed how some people always seem to be on high alert, worried about everything? The worst part is that many times they don't even realize they're being led into this mental state. Excessive fear prevents rational decisions and places a person in a vulnerable position. This happens in both personal life and business. For example, investors who make decisions based on panic lose fortunes, while those who maintain emotional control find opportunities where others see only crisis. The difference between the two? The vibrational frequency they choose to nourish. But how do you avoid this emotional manipulation? The first step is to develop critical awareness. Whenever you receive information loaded with negative emotion, stop and analyze. Who benefits if I believe this? This applies to every area: news, social media, work conversations. Fear can be used as a control mechanism, and if you're not careful, you become a pawn on that chessboard. Practicing emotional detachment and strategic thinking is essential for anyone who wants to keep their vibration high and avoid these traps. In addition, the environment you're in has a direct impact on your energy. Anxious and negative people can contaminate your frequency without you even noticing. Have you ever felt drained after talking to someone who only complains? That's because your energy has been sapped. That's why choosing your company and the type of content you consume is fundamental. Just as an athlete watches their diet to keep their body strong, you need to take care of your mind to maintain a high vibration and attract prosperity. Mastering your emotions is a superpower in a world where most people live at the mercy of external influences. Those who learn to do this become free to build the destiny they desire. But here's one detail. Fear doesn't just manipulate the individual mind. It's also used as a tool for social control. And that brings us to an even deeper point. Fear has always been one of the most effective tools of social control. When a population is in panic, it becomes easily manipulated. Governments, big corporations, and even certain media groups know this very well. They create crises, amplify problems, and sell solutions that deep down only increase dependency. This happens in the economy, in politics, and even in the way people handle prosperity. Anyone who is constantly afraid of losing money never dares to invest. Anyone terrified of the unknown never expands their horizons. Fear not only paralyzes, it places invisible chains on the mind. Look at the financial market, for example. How many times have massive stock market crashes been fueled by collective panic? The investor who lets emotion take over sells everything at a loss, while strategists who understand the game buy low and multiply their fortunes. This applies to every area of life. The person who fears rejection avoids new opportunities. Those who fear failure never leave their comfort zone. The goal isn't to eliminate fear, it's a part of the human experience, but to balance it with reason to make conscious decisions. The key to escaping this trap is recognizing when fear is being used as a weapon of manipulation. Whenever a feeling of panic arises, ask yourself, is this threat real or exaggerated? Of course, there are real risks in life, but many fears are planted and nurtured artificially to keep people stuck in predictable behavior patterns. That's why anyone who desires prosperity needs to learn to filter information and question narratives. Just as an athlete trains their body, it's essential to train your mind not to react impulsively to fear. Another important point is understanding that fear has a direct impact on your vibrational frequency. When someone is constantly worried, vibrating in scarcity, everything around them begins to reflect that energy. This explains why some people live in an endless cycle of problems. They are tuned into that frequency. The antidote: replace fear with knowledge and conscious action. Instead of falling into despair during a financial crisis, seek to understand how money works, invest in financial education, and learn to use the law of attraction to your advantage. And there's more. Fear isn't implanted solely through news or alarmist speeches. It's also present in something much subtler, something many people don't even notice. If there's something that silently shapes the way people think, it's films and TV series. The media doesn't just entertain, it implants ideas in the subconscious, influencing the way we see the world. Have you noticed how superhero movies always revolve around waiting for a savior? The subliminal message is clear. In the midst of chaos, someone will come to rescue humanity. But in real life, whoever waits for a savior becomes passive, leaving their vibrational frequency in the hands of external forces. And if you don't control your vibration, you're unlikely to attract prosperity and money. The film industry understands the power of repetition very well. When the same concept is hammered into different stories, it becomes an accepted truth without question. Think about apocalypse movies. There's always a global collapse, followed by mass destruction and despair. What's the hidden message? That fear and uncertainty are inevitable, that scarcity is humanity's destiny. Those who absorb this narrative without noticing begin to vibrate at that frequency, projecting fear of the future and consequently blocking their own abundance. But the media's impact goes beyond the stories being told. Even the soundtracks play an important role in emotional manipulation. Have you ever noticed how horror movies use specific sound frequencies to induce anxiety? Or how certain songs instantly make you feel nostalgic or sad? This happens because everything is vibrational frequency. When we consume content loaded with fear, violence, or pessimism, our own vibration aligns with that tone. It's no wonder that after watching the news for an hour, many people feel an unexplained emotional weight. So what can you do to avoid this negative influence? The first step is to become aware of what you consume. Instead of passively watching, analyze the message behind the content. Ask yourself, does this strengthen me or weaken me? Another strategy is to choose content that elevates your vibration, like inspiring documentaries, biographies of successful people, or even music that puts you in a positive mental state. After all, if your mind is constantly exposed to messages of failure and destruction, how do you expect to attract prosperity and success? And speaking of mental reprogramming, there's an even more powerful way to raise your vibrational frequency and shield yourself against these external influences. Something that few people master, but that makes all the difference in the life of anyone who wants to build a prosperous reality. If the mind is the command center of reality, then anyone who learns to train it masters their own destiny. Vibrational frequency responds directly to the thoughts and emotions we feed it every day. If someone spends all their time absorbing negative news, complaining about life, and reinforcing limiting beliefs, what do you think that person will attract? Exactly what they're vibrating. Now, those who practice mental reprogramming, meditation, and intentionality change their own tuning and, over time, transform their reality into something aligned with prosperity and money. Meditation isn't just some esoteric technique. It's a powerful tool to recalibrate your vibrational frequency. Successful people understand this. Steve Jobs, for example, was an avid meditator because he knew that a focused, disciplined mind generates clarity and innovation. For anyone who wants to elevate their vibration, meditating for 10 to 15 minutes a day makes a huge difference. The secret is consistency. There are apps like Headspace and Insight Timer that help beginners develop this habit in a simple and practical way. Another essential aspect of mental training is reprogramming the subconscious. The mind stores patterns that determine our actions and outcomes. If someone grew up hearing that money is dirty or that only those born rich stay rich, guess what that person will manifest? Exactly that scarcity. The way to break these blocks is to replace those beliefs with positive affirmations like, "I'm a money magnet," or "prosperity flows naturally to me." It might sound simple, but it reprograms the brain and alters your vibrational frequency. Moreover, the pursuit of self-knowledge is one of the most effective ways to protect yourself against external manipulations. When you know who you are, what your values are, and what you truly desire, you won't be swayed by negative influences. Reading books like Joseph Murphy's The Power of Your Subconscious Mind or Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within strengthens that journey. Because in the end, life doesn't respond to what we want. It responds to what we're prepared to receive. And that preparation happens internally before it manifests externally. But there's one detail that few people realize. This manipulation doesn't happen only on an individual level. Fear isn't used solely to control emotions and thoughts. It's also used to direct collective behavior. And this is reflected even more intensely in the global economy. Fear doesn't just move people's minds, it drives the global economy. Financial crises, pandemics, wars, and political instabilities aren't just isolated events. They're often strategically amplified to generate economic impact. When a population is in panic, it consumes irrationally. It buys what it doesn't need, takes on unwise debts, and gets caught in a cycle of scarcity. Those who master this logic profit from others' despair, while those vibrating at the frequency of fear become hostages of the system, unaware that they're being manipulated. Have you ever noticed how, in times of crisis, some companies skyrocket while others go under? During the pandemic, tech giants, e-commerce, and pharmaceutical sectors saw their profits soar like never before. Why? Because they understood that uncertainty creates opportunities for those who know how to use it. While most were swept away by despair, some saw the game behind the scenes and adjusted their strategies. This isn't conspiracy theory, it's simply how the world works. But how do you shield yourself from this economic manipulation? The first step is to stop being a pawn and take control of your financial decisions. Avoid impulsive buying, don't get into debt out of fear, and most importantly, understand how money works. Financial education is one of the greatest shields against this manipulation. Books like Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and George Glasson's The Richest Man in Babylon teach fundamental concepts for anyone seeking prosperity in any scenario. Another crucial point is to understand that wealth isn't just about money. It's about the vibrational frequency you maintain in relation to it. Those who see money as a problem or an emotional burden attract exactly that, difficulties and blockages. Whereas those who see money as energy, a natural flow of life, start vibrating at the frequency of abundance. So, in addition to financial knowledge, it's essential to reprogram your mind to tune into prosperity instead of feeding scarcity. And there's something even deeper in all this, because at the end of the day, this manipulation only works when a person is disconnected from themselves. If you're not aligned with your own essence, you become vulnerable to external influences. And it's precisely this inner connection that we need to strengthen. Amid the external chaos, the only thing we can truly control is our internal state. A high vibrational frequency isn't maintained by chance. It requires a deep connection with yourself. Those who only react to external events become like boats adrift, always at the mercy of the tides of news, crises, and others' opinions. But those who learn to center themselves build an inner fortress that protects them from any turbulence. And that fortress doesn't come from outside. It comes from the ability to be present, balanced, and aware of your own power. Have you noticed how some people, even in tough situations, manage to stay calm and find solutions? It's not luck, it's training. That inner connection allows intuition to grow stronger and decisions to be made without the interference of fear or anxiety. Practices like mindfulness, conscious breathing, and journaling are simple yet extremely powerful tools for this alignment. Those who develop this skill notice that the external reality starts to adjust to their new vibration, opening up paths that were once invisible. The problem is that modern society teaches us to constantly seek external validation. Social media, family expectations, imposed standards, all of this creates mental noise that disconnects us from our true essence. When your mind is full of external worries, there's no room left to listen to your own intuition. And without that connection, your vibrational frequency plummets. That's why taking moments of silence away from distractions is essential to recharge your energy and align your thoughts with the reality you want to create. Another key point is learning to deal with emotions without being overwhelmed by them. People who are internally connected don't deny their feelings, but they also don't let them dominate. If something negative happens, they observe it, process it, and move on without carrying unnecessary weight. To keep your vibration high, it's crucial to establish daily rituals that strengthen this connection. Whether it's an outdoor walk, an inspiring read, or simply a moment of gratitude upon waking up, what matters is feeding the right energy. But true transformation happens when that connection expands beyond the individual, because it's not enough just to raise your own vibration. It's about radiating that light to the world. And this is exactly where the power of consciousness comes into play. True freedom doesn't come from money, status, or external recognition. It comes from awakened consciousness. When a person expands their perception and begins to see beyond imposed illusions, they gain a power that no one can take away. Fear loses its strength, manipulations become obvious, and limitations simply vanish. It's not that challenges cease to exist, but they no longer have the same impact on those who operate at a high vibrational frequency. The light of consciousness doesn't eliminate shadows. It renders them irrelevant. And here's a powerful detail. The opposite of fear isn't love, as many say. The opposite of fear is the light of consciousness, because when someone sees the truth, fear naturally dissolves. Think of a child who's afraid of the dark. As soon as the light is turned on, the fear disappears. The same happens in life. The more knowledge and clarity a person has, the less they're swayed by external narratives that weaken them. Consciousness illuminates the path, and those who are aware never lose their way. The problem is that most people live on autopilot, following patterns without questioning, merely reacting to events. But once you awaken, you realize that you can intentionally shape your reality. There's no longer a need to wait for luck or ideal circumstances. The high vibrational frequency becomes a magnet for prosperity and money. That's why some people always seem to be in the right place at the right time. They don't have luck. They've simply learned to align their energy with what they desire. So how do you expand that consciousness in practice? First, by swapping superficial distractions for content that nourishes your mind. Instead of spending hours on empty entertainment, invest time in learning about universal laws, quantum physics, psychology, and spirituality. Books like Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now or Wallace Wattle's The Science of Getting Rich are true roadmaps for anyone seeking awakening. The more quality knowledge you acquire, the more your vibration aligns with prosperity. In the end, it all comes down to a choice: remain in the darkness of fear or activate the light of consciousness. Those who understand this will never again be manipulated, never again be a hostage to circumstances, and never again accept less than what they were born to live. Now the question remains, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Now that you understand how vibrational frequency directly impacts your life, the question remains, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Most people receive valuable information but never apply it. And guess what happens? Nothing changes. But if you've made it this far, it's because something inside you already knows it's time to take control of your energy. The big question is, will you continue operating on autopilot, letting fear and manipulation dictate your destiny? Or will you raise your vibration and start attracting the prosperity and money you truly deserve? The world wasn't designed to make your journey easy. At every moment, something will try to pull your frequency down, whether it's the fear spread by the media or the pessimism of those around you. The difference between those who live in the flow of abundance and those who are always fighting against the tide lies in how they choose to react to these influences. You have two options: be a spectator in your own life or become the architect of your reality. Which one will you choose? Remember, your vibration doesn't stay high by accident. It needs to be cultivated. Start by applying what you've learned here today. Choose more wisely the content you consume, reinforce habits that elevate your energy, and most importantly, protect your mind from negativity. Small changes in your routine will create a huge impact on how your reality manifests. And believe me, when you change your frequency, the world responds in the same tune. Now tell me in the comments, which of these points resonated with you the most? Have you noticed how your vibration influences the results you get in life? I want to hear your opinion. And if you want to keep learning about how to raise your frequency and unlock your full potential, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications. The next content might be exactly what you need to take the next step on your journey to prosperity. See you there.